for Filipinos, not just women, to be able to go to a group and seek help that way. Not even like big things, just each other out. That kind of community that a lot of us who grew up in the Philippines, like we
Mhm.
help each other out.
And today we have Jennie Hamilton. And yes, that is her real name. Jennie came in 2007 and has lived in Hamilton since 2008. She has been a Canadian citizen since 2014. She works for the Hamilton Public Library and has been there for 10 years. She says, I came to Canada to find myself and wasn't really intending to stay until love found me, and the rest, as they say, is history. So thank you so much for joining us, Jennie. We
No
appreciate your
problem.
time with us, and we're looking forward to hearing your story and celebrating you.
Thank you. It's always nice. Let's talk about it myself and me and I.
So let's start off with an icebreaker. So, what is one rule from your childhood do you not agree with, or something that still affects you now as an adult?
Okay. Yeah. So one of the things that you're told when you're a kid is like you're not supposed to talk back to your elders. You can't. So I still can't do that up until now. It's like I am. I'm just so afraid. So even at work, when I know like the person that's talking to me is significantly older in age, it's hard for me to like tell them you're not supposed to do it this way or this and that because sometimes they have to supervise certain people. So yeah, I still can't do it. And I remember even in my older age, even though my mom was on the other side of the world, she told me not to do it. I won't do it. It's like I feel like if the moment I go against her wishes,
Yeah.
something's gonna happen. And it's weird, and I know it doesn't make sense, but it's just what? Like my mom said not to go out. It's
And
like I'm not gonna go outside.
yeah,
And yeah, so
I
it's
think
ridiculous. I know how chinelas feels on my butt, so I'm very good. Like I think my mom stopped when I started running away, and I realized like at a certain age, like you know what, I could actually run away, or like I can dodge it. So once I started dodging it, I think my mom was like, okay,
this is what
gig
else.
is up.
Like the broader like Filipino community in Hamilton. From your
Um,
team or now?
Not really. I think because my start here was so weird. Like I didn't come here as a permanent resident or through the
Mm-hmm.
PSW program. I had a temporary visitor visa
Mm-hmm.
and I was an illegal alien for a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you it was hard for me. Like I purposely avoided the Filipino community. Like there were Filipinos that I was working with in the factory, but I wasn't really um, associating with them so much because of my immigration status. And you hear these stories that
Mm-hmm.
most people will help you out, but also that
Mm-hmm.
small group like can get you into trouble and can prevent you from finding some sort of employment.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very quiet. I intentionally shied away from them. And since my husband is Canadian, so that was the community I was with. It's like his
Mm-hmm.
family, his friends. Although I did have that one friend in Toronto and the one friend that was in St. Catharines, Montreal. Um, but they knew, even them, they were kind of careful, like introducing me to their community or
Mm-hmm.
whichever other Filipino friends that they have because of my immigration status. And when I finally got my papers in order, it was just like I didn't really exert any effort trying to find the community because usually like you'll find them in churches and I'm not the most religious of people and my
Mm-hmm.
husband is like has no denomination.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when you bump into other Filipinos, they'll ask like which church do you go to and does your husband go to church? And it was like I don't go to church, and then I'm not like there's no conversion that's going to happen
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah.
Uh, so you kind of avoid that too.
Mhm. Like what tools or connections do you have to navigate for yourself in terms of like the culture of like Canadian and Filipina?
Hard because I'm the only one here. I don't have well, I have an aunt in Mississauga, but I only met her when I was here already.
Mhm.
So and in terms of staying connected to the Filipino community, I think in the early days it was kind of hard because there weren't really a lot of Filipino stores around here. There was one on King Street, which is Gemma's.
Mhm.
But it closed down because the building beside it burned. And I live fairly close to that, and I went there just to get Filipino food.
Mhm.
But I think there were when I had the chance or the free time to at least maintain that Filipino connection, I'd visit my friend in Toronto, and of course, like
Mm.
everything Filipino there, right? I don't know. It'd be interesting to like actually gather them and hey, what's going on? Let's see how we can help each other.
Mhm. Mhm.
Without trying to recruit anyone into like a multi-level marketing team.
Okay, so I know you talked a little bit about your experience in your line of work. Um, is there any challenges that you faced, or anything that's fulfilling, or other recommendations or advice that you have? I know that was like a long question, but
Yeah, it's
anyway, you'd like to approach it, or
like with work, uh, like surprising it only really was a transition because my mindset was still like, oh, we used to do it, we did it this way in the Philippines, and this is a whole different like labor market. Even the work culture is different in the Philippines, like probably because you spend so much time at work because of traffic and stuff. Like you really get to know your coworkers and they become your friends outside of work. And that's not the thing here. That's not the work culture here. You can work with someone for like 25 years and not have a clue what their life outside of work is, and that's okay here. So that like took a while for me to navigate because
mm,
I wasn't exactly a newbie when I left the Philippines. I was already
mm,
in a supervisorial position and for a few years there, and then when I came here, it's like I had to start from the bottom. My coworkers didn't know where I was. Surprised that I spoke English, but that's not their fault that they didn't know a lot about other cultures because when I joined, it wasn't very diverse, the staffing, and that's just the way it was. Like
mhm.
it wasn't newcomers or immigrants didn't think of like I'm gonna work for the library. It's like it's not something that they thought of. Another challenge is um, I've seen people like change information desks when they saw that I was the one manning a certain information desk, not because I wouldn't have been able to answer the question, but because I was like it was very obvious that they moved because I wasn't Caucasian.
Mm.
Yeah. So and what was funny is that they moved and then the staff over there would ask me the answer to the question. So it's like Nina, Nina, Nina. So you have to and I used to like get so upset by that. And you know what, like now it's like I don't think I think most people don't do it on purpose. I don't think they even know that they do it.
Mhm.
So I always try and give them the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't happen as much, probably because I'm not at an information desk now. In terms of challenges, I didn't really have a lot. Although it was frustrating that they don't really recognize the education that I got from the Philippines. But what's fulfilling is that when I bump into other Filipinos in the library, the kind of joy and surprise that they have on their faces when they're like, oh my gosh, you're Filipino. And they have this question and it's a legitimate question, but they couldn't ask another staff because they didn't know how to ask it. They're very happy when they bump into me and they realize that I can understand what they're saying I used to like watch, people who are using public computers, and then when I see sometimes like they're obviously Filipinos, and I see them trying to fill out the immigration forms, I'll just approach them and say hi. It's like if you need help, tell me. And at a certain point, like I get random Filipinos just asking me immigration questions because the word spread.
So what motivated you to want to share your story with us?
I'd like to share my story because other Filipinas, to see that, you don't have, I know it's a stereotype, but you can be not a PSW or not a nurse or not a nanny. It's possible to do other things. With the people I worked with in the factory, they've been at that time they've already been here like 10, 15 years, and they're still working in the factory. It's fine if that's what you really want to do, but why are you not applying to be like the supervisor or shift lead or whatever? Like, and then I would hear them say, it's like, oh, I'm just Filipino. I don't know how to do this. It's like, they're not going to hire me because I'm not white. Those are not the only things that we can do because we're Filipinos.
And what is your hopes then for the Filipino community?
For Filipinos, not just women, to be able to go to a group and seek help that way. Not even like big things, just each other out. That kind of community that a lot of us who grew up in the Philippines, like we help each other out. There's a lot of sad stories out there too. So I like to reach out to those. I'd like them to be able to reach out to someone to help empower them or something. I don't know, just if I can help out in a little way, even just to get them a library card. It's like, I'm happy. There's a Filipino in the library that you can always reach out to, and I'll try and help you as best as I can.
What a great way to end off. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah. And congratulations, and good luck.
Thank you.
You have a follower now, and whatever you guys
Our
think.
5. You're part of our 5.
Our 5. Wow. Reach out. Like, you guys have a friend in the Hamilton Public Library.
There you go.
So now I have to behave because I identify that I'm like from Hamilton Public Library. I'm representing them now. Like, boss, I will behave. I will represent HPL. I'm going to show this to him. So anything that I can do to help, I'll be more than happy.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jessica.